Record.
Welcome to the Hurdle Podcast. We got week 17 picks for the NFL because guess what? After this, we still got another week because of this 18-game schedule. Bailey, how you doing, my guy?
Doing good, man. Happy New Year's to everyone.
Yep.
Happy holidays. They're over, so we're back on schedule.
Yeah, now the holidays out of the way. We're kind of now just on this weird waiting to kind of go back up to Bozeman at this point.
Yeah, basically.
It's weird about 2.5 weeks where we got to still wait to go to campus, but we're still gonna be pumping out some stuff. We were just talking before, got a few things on the docket that we're thinking, but we got picks to make because it's week 17. A lot of big important games, especially in the NFC, with Cowboys Cards, and then the AFC. It's a lot of jostling for position, like in the Colts Raiders game. So yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. Falcons go to Buffalo, take on the Bills. Bills favored by 14.5. Not much to say here. Bills are gonna win this game. I don't think it'll be relatively close. I think maybe Pitts could have a day, though he'll have Edmonds following him most of the day, I would assume, which I don't love the matchup, but Kyle Pitts is just that guy. He's built to, like, when they put him outside and corners have to cover him and they just can't because of purely how lengthy he is. That's just a matchup nightmare. So yeah, I'll take Buffalo by 17. I think they're going to give Matt Ryan fits all day. Josh Allen's going to have a heyday. I'm excited to see when AJ Terrell follows Diggs.
Yes,
that'll be interesting for sure. I'm really looking forward to that part of this game because AJ Terrell's been locked down all year. If I'm being honest, should be a Pro Bowler over.
Oh, easy.
He should be a Pro Bowler over Diggs. I mean, I know Diggs has the picks, but like if I had to pick one, I would take Terrell, and that's coming from a Cowboys fan because just AJ Terrell has not let anyone do anything against him, and this is the test. Like this is one of the bigger tests he'll have, and it's against Diggs, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. My huge key here in this game is to see how Allen if he can keep the momentum going and not go back to that on-off thing. He's been a little streaky this year, especially in those first few weeks of the year.
Very good last week.
He played almost perfect football last week. He was absolutely fantastic against the Belichick defense. So I'm really interested to see how he goes back to home against the Atlanta defense. Of course, you got Terrell on the one side. You got Deion Jones, who's a great coverage linebacker. So I mean, the Falcons, they're decent defensively. They're not amazing by any means. They're pretty middle of the road. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how Allen goes, and if they can get the run game going, because Singletary's actually been very good these last few weeks as well. So I don't know. I think this Buffalo offense is looking to peak at the right time here, and take this division title because this is a huge game to do that because the Patriots got a cakewalk this week.
Yeah.
So they got to get these wins, and I mean the Falcons are 5-3 on the road, but I really don't think that matters here. I like Buffalo by 14.
Yeah, I think this is more like, I'm not saying a tune-up game because it's not a cakewalk. Like Atlanta's a good team, but like this is where Buffalo can really tune everything because they're gonna make a playoff run, and they just gotta fine-tune some things. Like you said, the run game, they can get that going in, and then Josh Allen's on point. They're very hard to stop.
Allen's also been a huge factor in the run game too, because I think he had 100-some yards against Tampa, and then I think he had 65 yards against New England last week. So like he's doing his.
He had around 65.
Yeah. So he's doing his fair share too in a run game as well, which he's really been everything McDermott's asked for these last 2 or 3 weeks.
It's everything Buffalo's asked for, because when they took it, it's like quarterback out of Wyoming. You've got to be kidding me. But hey, not bad for a running back. Giants Bears. Now, intriguing matchup in Chicago, 6-point spread. I'm not sure who's going to be playing quarterback for the Bears. I believe it will be Fields, but I don't care who it is. They're playing the Giants.
Yeah.
The Giants are a dumpster fire. There's a lot of teams that are worse than them right now, record-wise, that I think could beat them. I think the Lions could probably beat them. Jacksonville would give them a game. This Giants team's just, I don't know. I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take them by 10. I just think being at home in January now, sorry, being at home in January at Soldier Field, that's never a fun place to play. And the Giants are just terrible.
Yeah. Man, I feel so bad for Saquon Barkley.
You at least need to trade him at this point. If you're not going to use him, get him out of there.
And they're using him. That's not the problem. He got 20 touches last week. He's starting to get back to his full workload. But like Danny Dimes isn't coming back for the rest of the year, and they're planning on bringing him and Joe Judge back the year after, which I think is
what how Nick feels about that.
Which is I think that's mistake numero uno in this whole. Yeah, and yeah, I guess you could split that 1A and 1B, but I think that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is they still haven't fixed the offensive line, even with all the first rounders they spent on it. Will Hernandez is not very good. Andrew Thomas, they took in the top 4 over Tristan Wirfs, and is it Jedrick Wills?
Yeah, they took
yeah, he's not on that tier whatsoever. I think you could argue Wirfs is the best right tackle in the league at this point. So the offense is just a mess. I still rock with the Giants secondary. Xavier McKinney's still balling. Logan Ryan's still playing fairly well. They're holding teams to low amounts of points.
Yeah.
So I think defensively, actually, they're fairly sound. It's just the offense. The offense is so bad that they can hardly put up points against any defense in the entire league, I think. And that's just a huge problem. You got to have more points than the other team to win the game at the end of the day. And the Giants just don't put points on the board. The over-under is 36.5. I mean, that's like 18 points a team. I think I'd still take the under. That's how bad both these offenses are. Because I don't know if the Giants over-under Giants score 7 points.
I was gonna say right at 7. I think this is like a 17-7 game.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna go. What'd you say?
I said by 10.
10. Yeah.
That's right about right.
Yeah, 10-13, somewhere in there, 20-7 is kind of what I'm feeling. That's a classic Bears Giants score, I think. Low, it's gonna be freezing cold.
It's gonna be a miserable game to be at.
Yeah.
And like this is a lose-lose for the Giants because they have the Bears pick. Mm-hmm. So the Bears win, the pick gets worse. Giants win, their pick gets worse. So like I was just gonna ask, like, do you think the Giants invest both their first round picks on linemen? Because this is a stacked lineman class.
It's a good lineman class. I think they go edge. I think it depends on how high their draft pick is. I think if they're around 10, they'll take the kid out of Purdue probably. Can't remember his name.
His name's confusing.
It's crazy. It's like George Kalafdis or something.
Yeah, or like Karlaftis. Yeah,
something like Greek. He's a stud though. He's very good. And then maybe they'll take a guy like the linebacker out of Bama. Is it Christian Harris or something like that? Christian Logan, something like that. I think it's Harris. Yeah, I think they'll probably go front 7 because I think that's address number 1. They get no pass rush. And their secondary's got to do a majority of the work. I agree. The lineman class is fairly good. I don't know. I still think they focus more defensively. I think they got to go all in on the defense and really just load the crap out of it because their offense is going to be what their offense is until they find a quarterback. And I think the sweepstakes are going to be very high for Bryce Young. So, especially if he wins the Bowl this year. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they go more defense, but I wouldn't blame them for going O-line because their O-line is absolutely horrific.
I mean, I was going to say, like, I could see him, like, if their pick's high enough, like, if Evan Neal's there, you take Evan.
Oh, yeah.
And you put him at right. Like, that's what you do. And then with your other pick, you can either go best D lineman available, edge preferably, or if there's just a linebacker you can't not have. Like, I really look at I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The guy opposite of Hutchinson at Michigan.
David Ojabo.
Yeah, Ojabo off the edge is just a stud. He's fast off the edge. I could see him going like he'd be a good fit in New York, I think. But it's just gonna really depend on what the Giants get pick wise, how high theirs is or where the Bears is. Because if they're very close, you're gonna get two of the top 10 players in the class.
Yeah, and you got to build off your previous drafts. That's the whole point of building a good unit. And they took Ojolari last year out of Georgia, if I'm not
Very good.
mistaken, who's been pretty solid this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they took McKinney in the second round. So they spent two very high picks on their defense. I think he's got to build upon that and build a really young core. And you got the vets like the Leonard Williams and like a Logan Ryan, exactly, to build off of that. And the Blake Martinez of the world who can rack up 140 tackles in a season. Like, I think then you can build a pretty solid unit.
Yeah, for sure. Little Giants tangent. I'm sure Nick will love that. But
still taking Chicago.
Oh yeah, for sure. Next game, very big one in the AFC. Got the Chiefs and Bengals in Cincinnati. Chiefs are favored by 3.5. I mean, I just look at this game. I don't think Cincy's defense can really stop the Chiefs. I think, and then you flip that. I think the Bengals offense is really good, but the Chiefs defense has been playing very well of late. I don't see a way Cincy can win this game. We've said it before. I mean, it could happen, but I'm going to take the Chiefs by 7. I just think the offense of Kansas City is just too much for this Cincy defense, who's kind of young and not as experienced. And they're just not going to be used to, like, they haven't had to play a guy like Mahomes. Like, they play Lamar twice a year and they play Baker twice a year, but like, they don't play a guy like Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill. So I just think the Chiefs, purely talent, can win this game. But I mean, if Joe Burrow's going to have a game like he did last week for this to be close. I think if he goes out and balls out, they have a shot. But I just don't see that happening against this KC defense.
Yeah, it's really tough. I think the matchup to watch here is going to be the Chiefs D line and Frank Clark and Chris Jones against that Bengals O line that we have questioned all year long. And honestly, they haven't been that bad. They've been pretty middle.
They were shaky at the beginning.
People, I know, including myself, I was harsh on them for not taking Sewell at 5 instead of Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is a stud. Don't get me wrong, Jamar Chase has been absolutely electric this year. And Sewell is just that perennial left tackle that you kind of build your line around.
You could argue he's the best left tackle in the league this year. He's been outstanding this year.
Yeah, he has been very good. So yeah, that's just the kind of guys you build your O-line around. I think the Bengals, looking forward, they got to build that front 7. And Trey Hendrickson's a great piece for that. They still got to get more guys on that defensive line. And they got to build in the trenches desperately. I think then they can really start to prove themselves to be an elite team in the NFL. Because I think once they do that, you still got Bates back there. You still got guys, or they don't have William Jackson anymore, do they? I think he's on the Reds or the football team.
Yeah, I think he's in Washington. Like, they've got young corners. They got Wuzier, who came over from Dallas. Like, Trey Waynes from Minnesota. They're a very young team. It's just a matter of putting, like, but they have old pieces. Like Trey Hendrickson's, like, I didn't know this. He's like 28, 29.
Oh, wow.
For an edge rusher. Like, that's getting up there.
And he's a late bloomer, but to say the least. But he's still a stud nonetheless. Oh, yeah. I think he's still top like 7 sacks this year. So yeah, I'm taking KC though. I just think KC's D line kind of manhandles Cincy's O line, especially in the run game, because I don't really feel like Cincy's got this like powerful offensive line by any means. I mean, that's kind of where the Chiefs thrive is in run stopping, and that's where it all starts for them. So yeah, I kind of think they dominate that. They take Joe Mixon away, and then they force Burrow to make decisions under pressure, which he's been iffy this year in that. I mean, I haven't recognized that much. I mean, of course, you have the 2 standout games against Baltimore. When you take those away, the stat line doesn't look great. And he's got, I think, 12 picks on the year. So, yeah, I just think Kansas City on the road. You said 7. I think that's perfect. Yeah, I rock with 7.
Yeah, like 6, 7. Like, I could see either Casey getting 2 field goals and winning it. I could see him getting a touchdown and just holding on to that lead.
And the Chiefs get Kelsey back. So
I was gonna say Kelsey's back this week. So I mean, they both have a lot to play for. Cincy with a win pretty much locks up that division.
Yeah, they do.
Baltimore playing the Rams, which we'll get to in a minute.
And the Chiefs, when they lock up the 1 seed.
I was gonna say, yeah, and Kansas City locks up the 1 with the win. So
quietly locks up the 1 seed after a very rough start. So yeah.
Because the three places I don't think you want to have to go to in the playoffs would be Green Bay, Kansas City, and New England.
And I throw Orchard Park in there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, in the winter. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But yeah,
Totally.
so AC being able to get that in Green Bay looking like they could get the one over in the NFC. Very scary for other teams in the playoffs because it's not going to be fun to go through those places.
Exactly.
Next one, Miami at Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 3. Tennessee needs a big win here because the Colts are breathing down their neck. And Miami needs this to get in the playoffs, pretty like to get back in this the hunt, back out of the hunt. I don't know. I'm not a big Tennessee guy. Like I don't think played better than the Niners did the night that they beat the Niners because everything outside of Jimmy Garoppolo for the Niners was great. And the only good thing out of Tennessee was AJ Brown. And I just think Miami's riding so hot right now. They need this game. I'm taking the Dolphins. I'm going to take them by 4. It's going to be very close. I think 24-20 is right about where I maybe see. Maybe that's a little too high, but I think maybe like 17-13, something like that. I don't think it'll be a barn burner by any means, but I think this is a big game for Tua. If Tua goes out and performs in I'll say a must win for the Dolphins against a team that's in the playoffs right now. I just think the Dolphins have too much at stake, and I don't trust Tennessee. I don't think they're a very sound team without Derrick Henry, yet they still win games because they're not playing great teams, but same can be said with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think those are all valid points. I worry about how Tennessee is going to guard Jalen Waddle because he's going to set the rookie reception record. I think it's almost a lock at this point. He's a stud.
Nice.
Honestly, I think there's a fair argument for that you could put him above Chase.
I was just going to ask, would you put him, because I think we can agree offensive rookie wise, it's between probably Jamar Chase and Waddle. You could maybe throw Mac Jones in there, but like I'm not like,
Mac Jones haven't helped his case whatsoever.
Yeah. So I think it comes down to Waddle and Chase. And like, I agree. There's a case for Waddle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd have to look at the stats a little closer. 96, 941, and 5 for Jalen Waddle there. And then when we go to Cincy, let's see. Cincy. Chase has 68, but 11, 63, and 10 touchdowns. So the touchdowns are very similar. Wallace got about 200 yards less and about 30. What was that? What's the math there? 28 more catches.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'd still go Chase. I think Waddle's a very close too.
Yeah, Waddle's making it a good case.
You got Waddle about right there, I think.
Yeah.
He's very close.
Both have been like the number ones on their team this year.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah, clearly. Except for T. Higgins last week. Good God. But yeah, I'm taking Tennessee here. Like you said, you don't trust Tennessee without Derrick Henry. I don't trust Ryan Tannehill either. I just don't. But when you flip the script, I don't trust Tennessee or Tua against Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee's defense played fairly well last week. They shut down George Kittle, made Deebo Samuel do all the work, and forced Jimmy G to put the ball in tight spots, which he can't do. Tua did not impress me whatsoever against a Dennis Allen-led defensive crew, which has been very good in New Orleans this year. But I'm rocking with the Titans by 3 right on the spread. I think the Dolphins put up a fighting chance, but I think the winning streak might end here, sadly.
Yeah.
I normally like to not bet against a team with a 7-game winning streak, but I think it ends here on the road.
Yeah, maybe the breaks, come a little streaky hole here. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a great game. There's a lot of good games this week. That one's one of the bigger implicators, just like this next one. Raiders at the Colts, a must win for the Raiders. The Colts are favored by 8. Carson Wentz is playing. He was in COVID protocols, all that good stuff. I mean, it does matter to have Carson Wentz back there, but at the same time, it's been the Jonathan Taylor show most of the year. And it just looks better that Wentz is there. Cause like the Arizona game, Wentz looked amazing. It looked like you were seeing shades of, MVP frontrunner Carson Wentz from back in 16,
Agree. Yeah, I believe that was 16. Yeah, it's
15 or
been
16, right around there.
Russell Wilson through the first 8 weeks.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, honestly. But yeah, I like the Colts. I think they're a better team. I think the Raiders have been kind of fun. They've been a fun storyline the whole year. They've gave us constant memes, and they've been winning a few games here and there to make it look interesting. But I think the Colts are red hot right now. I think they're a scary team that could be in the playoffs. I don't know who they're going to play in round one, but like once the dust settles, it could be scary. If they play like a Cincy, I would not hesitate to take the Colts, but they got to get in there first because it's not locked up yet. But a win here really does help. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
especially
take
if
the
Tennessee
Colts.
loses.
Yeah, I was going to say if Tennessee loses, then the Colts, I think,
Vault them, don't they? They
I
vault?
think they would because
Because
don't they play to end the year?
I think so, yeah.
So like it could come down to the last week.
Yeah, very much could.
Dang, that's nice. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Colts. I'll take the Colts by 13, 14. I'll take them by 14 because they don't have a kicker. So I'll take 14.
Um, hmm. Yeah, like you said, I think point number one I want to make about the Raiders is after all the Gruden stuff, Rich, God, how do you say his last name?
I don't
I
even
don't know how
want
to
to.
say his last name. Then the interim head coach, the Raiders interim head coach,
Is it
made a
Rich
name for
Gannon?
himself, ironically, even though I don't know how to say it.
It,
It's like Basia or something like that. Um, yeah, it's like BIASSCIA or something like that. Anyway, he's really done a pretty good job with having to lose Henry Ruggs, having to lose Damon Arnett, and just stepping in after all of Gruden's BS. And he's really done a fantastic job. I really don't think they could have asked for much more out of him. And I think he's earned a job for next year. So I hope he stays. I hope he gets it because I think he's earned it. And leading the Raiders to an 8-7 record somehow. Flip side, Indianapolis, like you said, Wentz, I think, played very well last week against a fairly good Arizona defense. And it gave me a little more confidence in Indiana that they can go into the playoffs and win games. Got to start here. He's got to keep the momentum going. I also like Indianapolis at home. Jonathan Taylor. I know the Raiders proved that they can very much stop the run, but Jonathan Taylor and stopping the run is a whole different ball game than Javonte Williams and stopping the run. Because the Colts also have a little bit of a passing game where Denver has zero passing game whatsoever. So yeah, I'm rocking with Indianapolis by 13 in this one. Jonathan Taylor's gonna hit 300 carries in this game, which is ridiculous.
300 total. Oh,
Yeah, 300 carries, period. He's got 297 right now. So just shows how much he means to this offense. If you stop Jonathan Taylor, you most likely beat the Colts. And stopping Jonathan Taylor means a scratch under 100 yards. So if they can do
pretty
that,
much.
the Raiders have a fairly good chance because Indy's 0-6 when Jonathan Taylor has less than 100 rushing yards. So there's some knowledge for it. And they're also 9-0 when he has more than 100 rushing yards. So
Yeah.
the game plan is simple, but it's easier said than done. But I like Indianapolis by 13.
Yeah. I mean, even Belichick couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Like, that's tough. Speaking of Belichick, Jags Patriots. This will not take long. It's Belichick against a rookie quarterback. The spread is 16.5. And we were talking earlier. I'm taking the Patriots, but I would take them under the spread. Like I'll take them by like 14. I think 16.5 is very rich for my blood. Because I mean, Jacksonville's played a lot of teams really close down to the wire. But I mean, it is the Patriots. So I mean, I get why it's 16.5, but I just think, I mean, it's Belichick against a rookie quarterback. I think Mac Jones, this could really be a game where he maybe stretches the ball out, throws it a lot more, just because Jacksonville's defense is subpar outside of Josh Allen and Miles Jack. So yeah, I'll take New England by 14.
Yeah, it's an interesting spread. 16.5 is pushing it a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if New England beats it, just because of the shellackings that they put on the Jets earlier in the year. Same kind of situation here, rookie quarterback, rookie head coach.
Rookie head coach, pretty much.
Yeah, double
Thrown into it.
So yeah, there's a little bit of uncertainty there for Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's defense is probably a little bit better than the Jets, which probably keeps us under 16.5. And Mac Jones just hasn't stepped up to the plate in the last 2 weeks, I think is a fair way to go about saying that.
Yeah.
I think they get back on track here. I definitely think the Patriots win. I agree with the 14. 41.5 is the over-under. I think that's kind of spot on, like a 31-17 kind of thing. I guess that's 48 points. Can't really do math, but
yeah, we're college students. Come on.
Yeah,
we don't do math.
It's not January 18th yet, so give me a break.
Exactly. Brains on rest.
So yeah, I'll take the Pats by 14 as well.
Yeah. Speaking of Jets, they host Tampa Bay in the Bucks. Tampa's favored by 13. This spread should be 16.5 or more because it's Brady against the Jets. We saw it for 20 years. Against the Jets is
massacre.
It is outside of 1 year with Mark Sanchez. It's a massacre. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Bucks win this game by 24 plus. It's not going to be close. I wouldn't shock me if they get to the fourth quarter and they rest Brady, they bench people. And I'm not going to lie, I would love to see Kyle Trask go out instead of Blaine Gabbert. I would love to see Kyle Trask for a quarter, just because I think once Brady's done, he might be the future in Tampa. So I think this is a game where I think it'd be fun to see Kyle Trask.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I don't really understand, like in the game against Chicago, they threw Gabbert for a quarter. Maybe just to get him some reps, I guess, in case Brady goes down. But because I know a playoff team, you want the more experienced quarterback, I guess, in the playoffs. So I guess that's why Gabbert's gotten his reps. Trask needs these reps against the subpar Jets defense. If it ends up getting to that point, I also think it gets to that point. I like the Bucks by 21. I understand no Evans. I understand no Godwin. Antonio Brown, I think, could have over 150 yards this game. I think he goes off, proves he could still be the best receiver in football when given the opportunities, because I think he still has that talent. It's kind of ridiculous.
Crazy because, like, he's getting older, but, like, every time I watch him play, I'm like, he just hasn't peaked yet. Like, he's going up. Like, and the fact that he's, like, the third option in Tampa is insane.
I totally agree. I think he peaked in Pittsburgh. Like, it's hard to beat like 1,700 yards and 15 touchdowns, but it's really hard to beat that. And I think AB now, by coming back, has probably solidified himself as the best receiver of our generation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you count Megatron in the previous generation, I said pick Megatron. I think it's actually a toss-up. I think it's closer than a lot of people think. And that could be a debate. There you go. Podcast idea.
Write it down.
AB versus Megatron. But yeah, I think AB just has a massive game. I'm an AB fan. Besides all the controversy, I just think he's fundamentally one of the greatest wide receivers I've ever seen when it comes to route running speed, the ability to catch the ball, toe tap. He really does everything. And when you pair that with Tom Brady, it's an unstoppable combo that should be in New England right now. If Belichick didn't mess that up. So he just wanted the future. It is what it is. There's a whole bunch of controversy around that. I'm going to avoid it. Tampa by 21.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting too, because, like, they don't have Leonard Fournette. He's going to be probably back maybe by the playoffs.
Rojo played well last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to see how they incorporate these younger backs into this offense, because, like, if playoff Lenny's not a go,
Keyshawn Vaughn.
They got to have, Keyshawn Vaughn looked very good last week. Granted,
he ripped off a big one.
Yeah, he opened the scoring. He opened the scoring, yeah. Like, and I get it was against Carolina, but Carolina's got decent defense. So I think this is a game where you get Brady his 275 and 3 touchdowns. You get AB his 150, Gronk his 100. and you
and
just
make sure no one gets hurt.
because that's what Tampa can't have. Like they're starting to like all start like dropping dead, and that is the worst thing you can have right before the playoffs. Because now like everyone's like, oh, Godwin's out till the playoffs. He's out for the year, so he's done for the year.
He's done for the
Mike
year.
Evans is he's
He's
always
supposed to be back this week, but he got COVID, so I don't know if he's playing or not.
so yeah. I mean, he might pass COVID, but I doubt it. I'm sure it's like a Kirk Cousins
He also
situation.
needs 101 yards to get his was it 8th or 9th straight year with 1,000 yards receiving.
So it might come down to that last week.
It could come down to the last week, yeah.
Dang, this last week's gonna be, I think, great. I'm so excited. But yeah, enough of our Tampa Bay, future.
Pummeling the Jets.
Yeah, because that game should not be that much worth talking about because we didn't talk about the Jets. So Eagles at Washington, Philly favored by 4.5. Gosh, I mean, I said it last week. I think Philly is probably the worst of if they get in the playoffs. Because like when you're competing against the Giants and it's a close game, and then Jalen Hurts and the offense is like, oh, okay, guys, okay, let's do something now. That's very concerning. They are playing Washington, who's just now kind of spiraling.
Can I counter?
Okay.
I don't like how they played in the first half, of course, in that game.
Okay, yeah.
But I also liked how they could flip the switch. I think that proves an ability that it's like, yeah, we got to turn it on now. Like the Chiefs proved that in the playoffs a couple years ago. And I'm not saying Philly is the Chiefs by any means.
I was going to say,
that's the last thing I'm saying. But they were down 25 to Houston at one point in that game. People forget that. And they came back, or was it 28? 28. And they came back and thrashed Houston. Like I think they ended up winning by 14. They put up 52 points on them. So like, I don't know. I think I kind of like that ability to say, hey, we're better than these guys. We got to go beat them. And they scored 31 in the second half. Granted, it's against the Giants, and the Giants suck. But I still like that ability to flip the switch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I get that. I just also look at it and go, all right, they're going to probably be the 7. So they are either playing Dallas, Green Bay, or Tampa Bay.
You also can't have the first half like they had against the Giants. I totally agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's two sides to the story.
Yeah, for sure. And they're playing Washington this week. I'll take Philly by 10. Washington's just spiraling. I don't know what to think of them right now. Rivera, I'm not going to say has lost the locker room, but after that Dallas game, granted, I mean, I would not be happy if I was getting absolutely beaten, but you also don't punch your teammates since college. Like, you don't do that. So they're just dysfunctional. Every side of that franchise, doesn't matter on or off the field. I'm going to take Philly by 10.
Yeah, and from the owner top down.
Pretty much, it's a that trickle down effect.
Yeah, the trigger, the trickle down effect. Yeah, exactly. I think this game is. What did you say? 10.
I said 10.
I think this game is actually going to be a lot closer than people think. I don't know. No Miles Sanders for the rest of the year, or at least the next 3-4 weeks for Philly. So no Miles Sanders, which I believe he was 5th in the league in yards per carry at over 5, which is ridiculous. I know he's missed games, but just almost had 1,000 yards rushing this year. Kind of proves the value of him to Philadelphia. So they're substituting him with Jordan Howard, who somehow revitalized his career with his 6th time being in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it only took 6 times.
6 times the charm.
For sure.
But yeah, I think this game is going to be a lot closer. It's 4.5. I want to pick Washington, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take it by 3.
Yeah, I like inside. I'm like, okay, this is a game Washington can win because like they've beaten good teams. They beat Tampa. Like they can beat good teams, and like Philly's a good team, not a great team. But I'm just they're so dysfunctional right now. That's I think the only reason why I wouldn't be like, I think Washington could pull it off. It's just they're just so dysfunctional right now.
After watching them play Dallas last week, there's only 2 things that can happen. They come out and they actually fight this week, or they get blown out again. And watching them play Dallas last week just gives me no reason to pick them this week, which is kind of like my only logic for them losing. Because I think all around, like on paper, they're probably the better team. I think it's pretty close.
I think they match up really good.
They match up fairly well with each other. Like McLaurin's going to be on Slay. Washington has a decent, like they don't have a great secondary this year, but like on paper, they have a good secondary. They have the talent to match up with guys like Goddard and Smith. Um, but yeah, I like Philly by 4, 28-24.
All right. The Rams go to Baltimore, take on the Ravens. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback. It doesn't sound like Lamar.
I think Huntley's back this week, though.
I was going to say, I think Huntley's back this week off COVID. So Tyler Huntley's starting. He's looked very good against some decent teams.
Really good against Green Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's he might get a starting job next year. I think he could. He's got the talent for it. But they're playing the Rams this week at home. Rams are favored by 6. I just think the Rams are on such a, I don't want to say hot streak because they beat Minnesota last week.
Won 4 in a row.
They've won 4 in a row. Like once they got Odell, after the one game Odell played, that they got kind of clapped. Then ever since then, the offense has looked okay outside of Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
And defense is figuring it out. So they're very scary right now. They took over Arizona for the division. I really want to pick the Ravens because I think they could pull it off, and they have to win this game. Baltimore has to get one of these next 2 to sniff the playoffs, or just hope Miami loses out, which could happen. But yeah, I like the Rams. I like the Rams by 7. I think it might just come down to which quarterback makes the least mistakes. And I don't feel great about Stafford. And I mean, Huntley's a younger quarterback and he's playing a very experienced defense. And he just doesn't have the kind of weapons Stafford does. So I'll take the Rams by 7.
7. Yeah, I'm also taking the Rams here. I think this could be a statement game for LA. Absolutely. I think LA really has the potential to go out and thrash them, really. I know it's in Baltimore, which I believe that's where the Green Bay game was.
It was in Baltimore, yeah.
I think Huntley's a good quarterback. I just don't know about his ability to call pass protection against guys like Aaron Donald, Von Miller, a very experienced coach, and Sean McVay while he's still very young. Still got, was he 5-6 years in the league now?
I was gonna say about 6.
You got to block Aaron Donald and Von Miller. So, I mean, when I look at the defensive offensive matchup for Baltimore, LA being on defense, I just don't like the odds there. And then when you flip the script, Sony Michel's been on an absolute tear in these past, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, I was gonna say plus, so they have Michel right now. Akers could play this week.
He could.
I doubt it, but
the odds are like very low.
Like they're gonna get him back in the mix.
They are gonna get him back in the mix. Because they activated him, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's just to have him on the roster for playoff time come the Super Bowl because they think they're gonna have him if they make it that far. But Sony Michel's been absolutely insane. I see no reason to take him off of the field, even if you're replacing him with Cam Akers, who has been very good. I just don't see any reason to take Sony Michel off the field to replace it with a coming back from injury, torn Achilles Cam Akers.
I was gonna say this kind of reminds me of like the Rams a few years ago with like CJ Anderson.
Yeah, and Todd Gurley. Yep.
And Todd Gurley, because like Todd Gurley was hurt, so they bring in CJ Anderson. He's playing really good. They don't bring back in Todd Gurley. It was the CJ Anderson show for that playoff game against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So
CJ Anderson tore him apart.
Yeah, and then Todd Gurley's out the next year. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. They get another shot at this weird a running back that's washed.
Yep.
And he's going off, and then you have your guy that's coming back off injury.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I mean, but it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, and they got to stop the run. Cooper Kupp is going to get the Triple Crown. I think it's almost certain now. I think really the only contender was probably Debo for yards, but now he's a running back. So, yeah, there's really no person really in contention with Kupp for any of these stats, if I'm not mistaken. Like, 132 catches. What's the reception record? Isn't it like 170?
I want to say it's around 170.
It's Michael Thomas. I know it's Michael Thomas a couple years ago. I think it's
It
around
might actually be 169 because I think it might.
169. I think it is actually. I think you're right. So he's still got to get a lot of catches, but Michael Thomas was insane that year.
Yeah, when you run only slants, I mean,
slants and double moves, baby.
yeah, because I mean, let's see, Cooper Kupp runs posts. He runs the deep route. His little, yeah, like he runs every route in the book. So
he runs it to perfection.
A little more impressive than Michael Thomas. I'll say it, but I mean, 169 is no slouch for sure.
I just think the Rams are just loaded on every level. I think they may have a statement win here against Baltimore if Lamar doesn't play. Lamar was a DMP last practice, didn't practice, so looking like Huntley's going to start. I just think that helps the Rams. I like the Rams by 17. Huge win.
Very nice.
Bold take, hot takes.
Oh yeah, hot take. For sure. Because so that's big because the Rams haven't really put away any of these teams that they've beaten of late, especially Minnesota. They really let Minnesota stay in that game, but we all know how that ended. Denver at the Chargers.
Oh,
sorry, I had to do it. Hey, I'll twist it a little. I'll twist it a little while I'm at it. I'm sure that's going to be backwards on YouTube. I'm sure I'm doing it backwards, but yeah, it's this way.
Hey,
there we go. Broncos, Chargers favored by 7.5. This was a game for, I think, both of us that we were kind of just in between. I think Teddy Bridgewater's back this week, possibly. If not, it's Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all know, Drew Lock is not a good quarterback. So I'll err on the side of caution.
Drew Lock sucks.
Oh, bad. He's terrible. These Missouri quarterbacks are terrible.
Yeah.
Him and Peyton Lynch.
Paxton Lynch.
Yeah. God, terrible Missouri quarterbacks.
Both played in Denver.
Yeah, both played in.
And drafted by Elway.
I mean,
coincidence, maybe.
Coincidence? I think not. But yeah, that really is what swayed it for me. Granted, the Chargers got embarrassed with the JV squad of Houston, who's one of the worst teams in the NFL. So at least their JV squad is terrible, but they're at home. I don't trust Drew Lock. And if Teddy's back, it's his first week back. That's a tough task against this Chargers defense. I just think this might be a good game for Herbo. He might get back in the rhythm. He just can't turn it over. Yeah, because that's what killed him in the Houston game was the pick six. That was kind of the dagger. So yeah, I'll take the Chargers by 13. I don't think Denver has any way of contending because it can't get to a shootout because they can't put up as many points. The only team they can do that against is Dallas.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think the Chargers get a big statement to keep them in the playoffs.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Denver won the last time they played.
Yeah, in Denver, yeah.
Yeah, in Denver. I'm with you on the 13 if Lock plays. I think that's a solid number. I think Derwin probably gets a pick. I think he's solidified himself probably as the best safety in the league.
He's back.
Him or Minka. It's him or Minka. Take your pick.
Exactly. And coming off an injury, he's been playing great all year.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. I think he's top. I think he leads all DBs in tackles.
I'm honestly, that's been the biggest difference for this Chargers defense this year. Because if he doesn't play this year, they are a very mediocre defense.
Yeah.
But with him being back, they are arguably a top.
On paper, they should be a top 5 defense.
Yeah, paper-wise, top 5. Skills-wise, top 10.
Top 12. Yeah, that's kind of where I was. Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers here too. Even if Teddy does play, if it's Teddy's playing, I like the Broncos to cover the spread of 7.5. I'd probably take him by 6. If Lock plays, I like the 13, like a 27-14 kind of deal. The Chargers just have a terrible run defense, and that's what Denver thrives off of. So
that's my only concern.
Yeah, that's where just the matchup I'm not jiggy with. Um, it's Justin Herbert though. I'm not gonna bet against Justin Herbert. I know last week was like, what did I just watch kind of deal, but I think this week I don't think he has two bad games in a row. I think he flips the switch this week, kind of has a big game. Probably I'll go 350 and three. 350 yards, three touchdowns. I think that's kind of the average, kind of what I'm expecting from Herbert this game.
It's
Even
kind
though
of like Brady.
Denver does have a good secondary.
We expect a certain amount of yards and touchdowns, and it's always pretty consistent. Like even in their loss, Herbert had 311.
Yeah.
So
So I think Herbert has a big game at home, and the Chargers need this win desperately to get into the playoffs. So for those two reasons, I think Staley gets them out, energized, ready to play, and I hope they beat Denver, and I think they do.
yeah, for sure. I really want to see the Chargers in the playoffs. I want to see what
Me too.
Herbert's got in the playoffs. Um, Texans, Niners. Texans riding high. Why you're winning, I will never know because you want a good draft pick, but this is the times we live in. San Francisco is, I think it's not confirmed, but I believe Trey Lance is going to start. There's a report that, Jimmy G could play. Jimmy G's not playing in this game. If anything, he might play next week.
John
Maybe.
Lynch will veto it if he's ready.
He'll tweet about it. Trust me. He'll make a retweet about Jimmy G playing.
Banging gavels. Jimmy G will not play this game.
He goes, I must see my investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, who starting about now, I hate the Bison, but yeah.
Let's start when we won the playoff.
Hey, it's the week of, so it's the real hatred. But
Yep.
in this one, I like Trey Lance against Houston. I think we're really going to get to see what Trey Lance has got. He's going to get to use Kittle now because in his start earlier in the year, Kittle wasn't playing because of his injury. So I really like the Niners to put up a lot. I really do. It's just a matter of, do I think Houston can put up points on this defense? And I just don't think so. I think Nick Bosa could have a huge game because he'll be going up against Tunsil, so that'll be a fun matchup.
Yep.
But I'm gonna take the Niners by 21. I know that's a lot, especially with Houston riding high off a win. I want to see what Trey Lance has got. He's got the weapons.
Yep.
I think he's just gonna put up a ton of points. I really do. So I'll take the Niners by 21, like 31-10.
That's fair. I'm not gonna go 21. I'm not gonna push it that far. Probably go 14. Yeah, I just think Debo has a huge week. Eli Mitchell, I believe, is coming back this week and playing. So that's another just added benefit to the Niners, most likely going to win this game. Eli Mitchell is a rare breed in a Shanahan offense where he's kind of stood out as a standout back. That was horribly phrased, but yeah. And where else am I going to stay? Like he's been very good as a rookie running back, and everyone thought it was going to be Sermon, and it's just been Eli Mitchell really all year. With a little bit of Debo sprinkled in. Yeah. But even with Lance playing over Garoppolo, Davis Mills looking all right, I still take the Niners by 14. I think it's pretty clear cut and dry that Texans can't win 2 games in a row.
Yeah, because they won 4 all year. So, I mean, yeah, again, this is a big game for the Niners. They need this to stay at that 6th spot. Right now, because I think this is your best shot because like they don't have a hard schedule to finish. No. So they're the ones that like this is the must win, especially with Trey Lance playing. Like I know I'm like talking him up, but he is a rookie quarterback. You just don't know. And like Texans were able to make Herbert look not great. I can only imagine what they could do against a rookie quarterback. But I just still like him in this matchup. He just matches up too well. This whole team does for sure. Okay, the big one, Arizona, Dallas. It's huge. For playoff seeding. Now that the Cardinals aren't the division leader it's not as big, but
still a big game.
The game separates us. And after seeing how Arizona played last week against the Colts and seeing how Dallas played against Washington, I think Dallas is going to be just riding high. I think the Cardinals are maybe to the point where it's like, all right, we're the 5 seed, like, because they're not going to get jumped. Like, they can only go up.
Yep.
So like they're locked in. The spread 6.5 for Dallas at home. I'm gonna go a little under. I'm gonna take Dallas by 4. I think 24-20 is gonna be the difference. Both these teams cannot trust their kickers. That's why I'm a little scared to say there's 2 field goals for Arizona and 1 for Dallas. But at the same time, I will take my kicker, Greg Zerline, over Matt Prater, who had one of the worst kicking displays I've ever seen in a
All year.
game. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So I'll take Dallas by 4. They really need this one. So I just think I was so worried about this game like earlier in the year. And now it's like, I'm not terrified of Arizona anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. You hear that? I'm not afraid.
You're still sounding a little stressed over there.
I mean, that's just
still,
come on.
that is the natural spot, because if Arizona does win, they got the tiebreaker against Dallas if they need it for that seeding, and they still got to pass the Rams. But I really want to pick Arizona, but nothing in the past month is giving me any reason to pick them. Kyler has been mediocre at best. I think you can say no D-Hop now, and the stars are aligning for Dallas to come out and throttle them in this game. I'm not going to pick them by a throttling amount of points, but I'm going to pick them by a decent amount. I'm going to pick them by 10. I think they win by double digits. They're just going to put all the pieces together now. I think that's the last thing they got to do to really solidify themselves as a Super Bowl contender. I hate Dallas, and I'm still saying this crap. I think CD's the wide receiver 1 personally on this team. Correct me. I mean, who's got more yards? Yeah, C's got more yards.
Yeah, I think CD's the.
Everyone wants to say Amari's still the one. I don't think Amari's the one.
I don't think he is, but Amari Cooper just shows up when he has to.
Exactly.
Like, he's very clutch. Like, if we're saying Amari Cooper's the 2, let's say he is. That's a great number 2 to have.
Either way. Yeah.
I think Gallup is a 3.
Yeah.
Like, next year, Dallas, there's no way they can bring him back. But if they do, and if not, like, he could be a number 1 on a lot of teams. He's a 3 in Dallas. So, yeah, I think CD's the number 1 right now.
Yeah, I'm with that. And now they got Lawrence. They've been rocking with him back for a few weeks. Diggs is still the big play guy on defense, along with Parsons, who's been absolutely outstanding this year. Van Der Esch has actually been very underrated, in my opinion. I think he's still, I know it's not what he was doing his rookie year, but he's still a top probably 15 to 20 linebacker in this league.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what maybe killed like Jalen Smith, because like he had such a great rookie year, and then ever since then it's just been like, like
ever
a little
since,
bit.
And ever since they lost Smith, they were running. And correct me if I'm wrong, they were running a 3-4 when Smith and Van Der Esch were there. Now that Van Der Esch is the sole middle linebacker, in my opinion, because he plays like a middle linebacker. He's got the IQ to play like a middle linebacker. He reminds me of Bosworth a little bit. I don't really know why. Maybe it's the neck roll.
Well, I'm sure, but I mean,
it's got to be the neck roll. But I love the neck rolls.
I wore a neck roll my last year at Little League. I looked like a fool, but I did. playing right tackle with a neck roll.
Every time you create a player in Madden, if you don't give him the neck roll, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, I give him the neck roll, the towel, the blacked out visor,
and the massive shoulder pads.
Massive shoulder pads, and then like the like massive like coat. It's like called a coat that they like wear under, so they just look.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Cowboys here by 10. I just like how they match up, and Kingsbury is just not doing it for me lately. I don't know what it is. I think it's the play calling. Like the play calling kind of sucks. What? You
don't like your little fix of Kingsbury?
No, not right now. Maybe
not right now.
Through the first 8 weeks, give me every share of Kingsbury I can buy. He's like a stock. The first 8 weeks, I am buying every share of Kingsbury I can get. When we get in the crunch time in the December, January, February months, I am selling off every share instantly. It's like Black Monday when Belfort hit the stock market. It's straight down. Yeah. Anyway, Cowboys by 10.
Yeah, pretty much Dallas wins. Carolina at New Orleans. Saints are favored by 6.5. I believe Taysom's going to be playing. I would assume. I pray to God it's Taysom Hill
It is.
because I just feel bad for Ian Book, but
He needs a week of rest after the battering he took last week.
Yeah, these Notre Dame quarterbacks
not doing it in the NFL.
Not doing it, but Saints have the Panthers. I'm purely going to take the Saints because it's in New Orleans. I think if this is in Carolina, I would take Carolina.
Really?
And I think in an upset, I just think New Orleans is such a big factor home field wise that like they give Brady fits every time it's in New Orleans. It doesn't matter how good the Saints are. They just give teams fits in New Orleans, except Dolphins because they had Ian Book. So I think I'll take the Saints here. I'll take them by 3, but I think Carolina gives them a game. I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina has the lead and then the Saints have to go on a drive and get a field goal. I just think I think Carolina's to the point where it's like they gotta get something at some point. And I think this could be the game. But if Cam Newton plays like Cam Newton has been, it'll be a PJ Walker show very quickly.
I'm on the complete opposite end of this spectrum. I'm picking the Saints by double digits. I'll be surprised if the Panthers score more than 10 points. I think they're 1-10 in their last 11 games. They've secretly they're the Arizona of last year. I thought it was going to be Cincy because we saw the high-powered offense. It isn't. It's Carolina this year. And good Lord, have they plummeted. I honestly think their offense is like New York Giant level bad. They've been horrible recently offensively. And they can't really stop anything on defense. I think Gilmore's out for the rest of the year with a groin injury. And I don't think JC Horn's returned all year. So I don't think we're going to see him until next year, which kind of sucks. But I think the Saints just run all over these guys. I think Kamara has a big game. I like the Saints by 13 at home. I think it's pretty cut and dry. If Dennis Allen can do that thing against Tampa Bay, I think he can do that thing against draw that kind of game plan against Carolina.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Someone just gives me like, Carolina can maybe do something.
I'm normally wrong about those feel-good games. Those are the ones I miss. So maybe fade me and go Logan on this one.
No, I'm still picking the Saints. Still picking them by 3. But, I mean, again, I think Carolina could maybe put something together because, like I said, they really have nothing to lose. The Saints have everything to lose. A loss, and they're pretty much done for. Yep. So I think Carolina's dangerous when they don't have anything to play for.
They haven't had anything to play for in the past 4 weeks.
I know, but later down the road. I mean, they've had a pretty tough schedule. Like Tampa's in there, and I mean that's true.
That's true.
But at the same time, yeah, I think that could be a fun game. Let's hope it's not snowing again because the Seahawks are at home again, and they play Detroit with I don't know who's going to be at quarterback. I hope Goff because
Boyle played all right last week.
He played okay. They didn't win, so it doesn't matter. But Goff hasn't won either. Well, he's won 2, but
and tied 1. He's won 2.5.
Hey, he's 2.5 wins for good old Jared Goff. Yeah, Seattle's favored by 7.5. I really wanted to pick the Lions because I just think Seattle's so dysfunctional right now. But the Lions are that much more dysfunctional. I think Dan Campbell's got his guys playing tough. But I do not see a Russell Wilson-led team losing to a 2-12-1 Lions team at home, and it shouldn't be snowing. So the people of Seattle should be at this game because they don't drive in the snow. So there was no one at that Bears game except our boy Luke. So I'll take Seattle by 10. I think Detroit could make it competitive, but I cannot pick the Lions to be a Russell Wilson-led team, even if they are as bad as they are right now.
Yeah, I'm also taking Seattle here. I'm going to keep this very short. I'm totally with you on the Russell Wilson thing. I think this could be his big game this year. He always has 1 or 2. I know the finger thing's been really hurting him this year. He's really been working to get back at it. The Seahawks, I know they aren't great. I think they just got to let it air out this game and just see what happens. I know Rashad Penny's been very good. And honestly, they've had the pieces offensively in these last few games. It's fine. it's got to click now here, with Penny having a couple breakout games. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Seahawks by 7. I don't know why I'm picking the Lions to score 21 points, but I guess they will here. In my opinion, 28-21. Seattle, Russell Wilson, 334 touchdowns.
There you go. See, I see it weird. I see 21-11. I see it being 21-3 the
That's
whole
such
way.
a Detroit score.
Right. Like I could see him scoring a late touchdown and getting a 2 and being like, yay, we guys made points as we do losses. So
And then going for 2.
yeah, Dan Campbell would. He'll take your kneecaps and take your 2 points. So it is what it is. Sunday nighter, Vikings at Packers. I'll keep it very short. I thought this would be more entertaining if Kirk Cousins was playing because he's terrible on Sunday night games. Absolutely terrible. He's
Even
not
worse
good
on Monday night.
Exactly. He's not good in prime time, but I think it would have been like Packers by 10. If you guys are playing Sean Mannion, Green Bay is going to win this game by 28 points. It is not going to be close. I don't know if Kellen Mond's just not healthy, but I feel like in this game, I personally would play Kellen Mond. You drafted him in the 3rd or 4th round for a reason.
Preach. Preach.
I just don't get it. Why are you calling up Sean Mannion? If Mond's healthy, he should be playing. Granted, are you throwing him to the Wolves? Absolutely. But
is it the end of the season and we're not going to make the playoffs?
Absolutely. At this point, what do you have to lose? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like the opposite of Tampa. Tampa's like, oh, we're coasting. We're going to be playing the Jets. We should throw in Kyle Trask. Minnesota, it's like, okay, our season's going to be over because we are playing Green Bay in Green Bay on Sunday Night Football without Kirk Cousins. And I don't know about Dalvin Cook. I don't see why you don't play him. I'll take, Green Bay by 28. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going Green Bay 21. I think Dalvin Cook scores a touchdown. Dalvin Cook's the only way we're going to be able to score points because we don't have a quarterback to now get Jefferson the ball. The OC, God, why can't I not remember our OC's name?
It's Turner, isn't it? Some Turner?
North Turner.
It's North Turner's kid, I think.
It might be. Either way, I'll look it up because this looks really disrespectful on my end right now. But
you Vikings fan.
Yeah. But I just don't see any way. Oh, it's Gary Kubiak's son. That's what it is.
That's who it was.
That I was trying to remember Gary Kubiak and then connect it. He's really gonna have to get very creative and getting the ball in the hands of Justin Jefferson. No more Adam Thielen. So Sean Mannion doesn't have any kind of check down or guy that's gonna get open route running wise in these concepts. I mean, Jefferson's a great route runner. He's more of a deep threat guy. I don't really think him as you give him a 3-yard drag and let it turn him upfield. I think it's more as a hit a double move and get 28 out of one of those kind of catch guys. Dalvin Cook's really going to have to carry the load offensively. No one is stopping Aaron Rodgers right now, and it sure as heck isn't going to be Minnesota's secondary. Devontae Adams, over 125 in a touchdown, in my opinion. He's going to go off this week, I think, because he always does against Minnesota. It seems like, pardon me. So, Green Bay by 21, 20, actually, let's see. 24, 31-7.
Yeah, very nice. I think I will raise you. I think Devonta Adams goes 175 and 2 touchdowns. I think Rodgers could throw for over 4 if they play him that long.
Twist it further, please.
I'll twist it a little more, get a little hammer.
I won't be excited till we trade Kirk Cousins. So,
I mean, there you go.
That's no one's going to take him. But...
You might. Hey, give old.
We need to give the Minnesota or the Seattle GM, it calls it Schneider.
Yeah, call good old Dan Schneider and be like, hey, we'll take Russ off your hands. He clearly doesn't want to be there.
Don Schneider or something like that.
We'll give you Kirk and 2 firsts, and we'll call it
2 firsts and Kellen Mond. Just take both. Take both of them.
Take all the quarterbacks we have. You can have Sean Mannion too.
Sean Mannion too. You can have a whole quarterback room for Russell Wilson.
There you go. And then we finish week 17 off, kind of not somber, but end of an era.
On a doozy.
Yeah. This is probably going to be, of the reports, it's from Ben Roethlisberger. It's probably his last home game in Pittsburgh. So the Ben Roethlisberger ride is over for the Steelers. About 2 seasons too late, in my opinion. But yeah, they're playing the Browns in a game where losers eliminated from the playoffs. It's to that point. That division is so tight. The loser of this is out of the playoff race. Now, I think Cleveland's the better team. I think Cleveland would be a better playoff team. I just think with Pittsburgh and with all the emotion with this maybe being Ben's last home game, I think maybe they find a way to pull one out. Cleveland's favored by 3.5. I'm going to take Pittsburgh by 3. It's going to be very low scoring because both these offenses are terrible and defenses on both sides are very good. So I'll take it like 13-10. Like very low scoring. I think very low scoring.
Over-under is 41, which I don't even think is the lowest of the week because Carolina and New Orleans is lower than that.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. I think I go Cleveland here. I don't know. I just think back to last year and what Cleveland did to Pittsburgh in the tail end of that year and just how they throttled them. I know Pittsburgh was on basically cliff diving.
Yeah.
At that point of the year, but they beat them back to back twice, once with a JV roster, and then Pittsburgh fans were happy, and then they spanked them with their varsity roster. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of just look back at that. I know the Browns are 2-5 on the road. I know the Steelers are 5-1 at home. But I'm rocking Cleveland here. I just don't have any reason to pick Pittsburgh. They just got way too much. I don't know. I just don't vibe with them. They just got too much drama for a team that is exactly 500. So, and I like Tomlin as a coach. I still think he's a top 5 coach. The fact that this team is 500, I think it's 33.3% Tomlin. I think he's a third of the equation here. And the other 2/3 is the defense. Yeah, I just like Cleveland in this game. Myles Garrett's probably going to have a big game as he always does. It's kind of fallen off in the DPOY voting a little bit. It's had a couple quiet weeks, I think, in my opinion. So it's time for him to make his mark once again. And there's no better time to do it when the playoffs are on the line. And I think Nick Chubb gets going. He had a big week last week, so time for him to do it again.
Yeah, for sure. And it's big for Myles Garrett because you got TJ Watt on the other side. So you pretty much have to outdo TJ Watt in this game, like to even keep your name like in there. Like if TJ Watt has 2.5 sacks, you got to have 3.5. Like it's going to have to be like that. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch. I think this will be a funner one to watch, even though
I like defense.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you like defense and low scoring,
that's the one.
Just watch Monday night. That's all you need.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's going to do it for the week 17. Woo.
17.
This NFL season's flown by. Week 17 picks.
Yeah, it's flown by, and we've had an extra week.
I know. Week 17 picks in the books. Normally this would be the last week of the year, but good luck with your fantasy teams. I'm in 3 championships.
I was gonna say you're in 3 championships. I have mine's just looking to,
close out the year in style.
Yeah, close out the year with some style points. Did last week. Maybe we'll go for a little more style points.
So I'll be actively stalking each one of those teams tomorrow. But so good luck if you got any big fantasy games next week. As far as the Hurdle podcast goes, we got a couple new ideas that we're coming up with here that should actually come out very soon. And we'll get those out and on the fly to you guys pronto.
No, I was just gonna say we've been delaying it. We're gonna get basketball out because a lot's happened in the NBA. We'll get one out hopefully by next week. We'll figure that all out. But yeah, NBA for sure. We'll get another NBA one in, and I haven't talked baseball in a minute. So I mean, maybe
Hall of Fame ballot is.
Yeah, we'll talk a little baseball because it's still in lockout. So
yeah, absolutely. So get a little baseball content out, and hopefully an interview. Gotta get in touch with a special person for an interview. So we'll get those rocking out, and to you guys,
keeping it a secret. Oh, you slide dog.
No tips or tricks or anything on that one. So as far as Hurdle podcast goes, check out that. Empty Net should be coming out soon because they haven't came out in Lord knows how long. So we'll get on top of that.
It's kind of hard. It's really hard for them because I would say any league of games getting canceled, it's been
It's
hitting the NHL the most.
Yes.
So I get why nothing for the empty net right now, because it's just so inconsistent,
Chaotic.
like scheduling wise. Yeah, like hockey's just in a weird spot right now because you don't know who's playing when. Like they're the one league that's taking the COVID stuff right now very serious. Like their whole now the Canada games are like on hold. Like
Yeah, like Minnesota and God, who played?
St. Louis today.
Yeah, they played in -8 degrees and outside, which
Yeah,
is
the Winter
thing they do
Classic.
once every year. But I mean, like that's just kind of stuff they're gonna have to start fixating how they work their COVID stuff like that. So Empty Net should be coming out soon. For more Hurdle Podcast, check us out on Instagram at Hurdle Podcast. We post every time we drop an episode either on YouTube and on Spotify. Those are the two spots you can check us out. If you're gonna be watching this here on YouTube right now, if you want to see the video of me and Logan. If you just want to listen strictly to the audio, go to Spotify, type in Hurl Sports to the search bar, go down to podcasts. We're still number one on that list. So check us out there. If you just want to listen strictly for the audio video, that's going to be right here. But that's going to do it for this week's podcast picks. First picks we've made in 3 weeks. So excited to get those out into you.
Yeah.
That's going to do it. That's Logan. I'm Bailey. We're out. Peace, guys.